All right, there's something that's been bothering me because there's some talk about JD Vance and the whole Project 2025 thing. If we pay attention to people who have been authors of different parts of Project 2025, JD Vance is one of the big players. Now, Peter Thiel's the head of the everything and the Heritage Foundation and all of this that goes all the way back with Donald Trump and everybody else. This is one of those things that you can't really ignore all the parts of. There are senators, there are congresspeople, there are people up and down government in voting positions, secretaries of state. It's all these people we're hearing about that are already trying to manipulate the outcome of Project 2024. And this has been something that, if you put your mind in the structural how things work, from voting to mail-in ballots to the process of counting the ballots to who says yes, this is legit, no, it's not legit, who has the power to not certify votes, what that next step is once a vote isn't certified. It goes to Congress, and Congress can make the decision who won or who certified. If you follow every little step of that action, you'll see a pattern. And the pattern matches exactly with the way Donald Trump handles the legal thing. If you look at Donald Trump's legal issues, it goes to the judges that are local to the crimes, So the jurisdiction of all of his properties is in play with people necessary to stand up and basically run blocker for Donald Trump. I give you Eileen Cannon as a prime example of that. Eileen Cannon's experience before getting appointed to this job was she had 10 cases in her career, 10, as a judge. That's not an experienced judge, but she works for Donald Trump. She works for Project 2025, and it all helps to move the agenda forward, because Donald Trump has to become president for the Republicans to be able to institute Project 2025, has to become president for people like Vladimir Putin, Little Kim, and all these people he has business deals with and made promises to, Benjamin Netanyahu and everybody else. He wants to come in and take everyone in the government that isn't a loyalist, from the military all the way up to attorney generals and special investigators, special counsel, he wants to have all of those people in those strategic places, Donald Trump people. And the problem is, when you look at the voting process and you have the secretaries of state, you have the people on the county level, you have the voters, the people counting the votes, are all people that can influence how it goes. So let's just say you have, 100,000 person army specifically dedicated to being in those positions, overseeing the counting of the votes, or being the actual people who count the votes. Republicans of the Heritage Foundation has already admitted they have hundreds of thousands of people in those positions to make sure of election integrity. Donald Trump started taking post office boxes, mailboxes, off of the street corners, like 50%, 60%, when he first got into office. No one really understood why. But think about what jigsaw puzzle piece that one move did. It took away half the places people could drop their mail-in ballot. So when he tried to veto and get the mail-in ballot taken off, if he wasn't successful, which was the case, what's the next thing you do to affect the mail and the mail-in ballots? You affect the post offices. You take funding from the post offices. You force the post offices to go to a skeleton crew so they can barely expedite the process of getting the mail out in time. So here you have the mailboxes being taken off the corners, the post offices getting knocked down to a skeleton crew and losing a lot of their funding, and he already has the biggest parts of that. And then close down polling places. You close down the polling places, less people can get to vote. If less people get to vote, okay, then let's make those people's lives a little more difficult. How can we do that? Oh yeah, voter restriction laws, voter suppression laws. Insist that they have these IDs that they haven't needed in 20 years. Insist they have them or they lose their chance to vote. If that doesn't go right, what do? You have states that put in voting purge acts where they can go in and actually strip the voter registrations from any random person for any excuse under the sun. All of these little pieces of the puzzle is trying to assure that the Republicans win this election. We need to make sure all these little news stories we're hearing about the states, about fake electors who are being prosecuted as we speak in the states that actually believe in law and order and justice and keeping a fair and balanced election process. Those states are prosecuting fake electors. It has already been proven Donald Trump, his team, the Heritage Foundation, has a whole bunch of fake electors in line for the 2024 election. It's already there. They're being prosecuted for it right now. Georgia, the J6, the election interference. Rudy Giuliani just got picked up in Arizona for that exact thing. They're already doing it. And at the same time, he's on the podium and they're in the microphone saying the Democrats are trying to steal the election. The Democrats are trying to steal the election. But the Democrats aren't being caught stealing the election. They don't have 19 people in a RICO case with mountains of evidence against each and every one, and a lot of those big players turning on the president himself. And gee, why would that be delayed? Why would that case need to be delayed? All of that evidence that shows all this shit to all of his followers, what he's actually doing behind the scenes and why he's doing it. There's talk about J.D. Vance and the Project 2025 and why he was put there in person. He was put there on purpose, being as qualified as he is, but pay attention to what he's saying in his interviews. He's saying Project 2025 to the freaking word. He's saying it right now, every single day, but it's off in the corner. Donald Trump's the distraction. He's over here. And think of what Donald Trump's doing. He's creating these narratives that start like, influxes of people going to Springfield to protect the cats and dogs, Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado, so the Hells Angels, all of this stuff's getting started through this network of things that were also discovered, that are also factual, that also has a shit ton of evidence. This Russian disinformation scheme they have. The indictment names people like Tucker Carlson and how he gets paid directly from Russia. Well, Tucker kind of helped us all out by just saying, hey, screw America, I'm working for he's working for Russian television right now. So people who say, oh, that's all bullshit. Again, like Donald Trump in front of you. But if you think of everything he's tried to do, every move he's tried to make, these cases are going to bring out the facts of them manipulating the elections. And every single person involved, every congressman, every senator that is found, evidence leads directly to them that they are guilty of taking part in this, they will be in trouble too. So what interest do they have in postponing this stuff? What interest do they have on these cases never seeing the light of day? Because if we could get our guy in there, they all disappear and we're all off scot-free. That's why they do what they do. And you have the Supreme Court, you have the inspectors, you have the AGs, you have secretaries of state. It's all in front of us. And it's not a conspiracy theory because we know for a fact he's done this stuff because he fucking brags about it. So pay attention to it. Put the pieces together, because everything else, the dogs, the cats, the geese, the apartment buildings, the caravan that he invented the word, is all bullshit. And it's proven to be bullshit over and over and over again. So stop fighting about it. You're falling for the distraction where the big shit's going to happen. Start paying attention to the big picture and start, for God's sakes, research what you're angry about. Make sure it's real. Because if it's not, you're just being an ass. You're not being patriotic, and you're not a good freaking American. You're certainly not putting America first. You're putting Cheeto Von Schitzenpants first. Recognize that. Stay diligent, stay educated, and be kind. We are all in this together, whether we like it or not. God bless.